to plant pinwheels like this all around town, and how a local beauty salon is changing the industry. A fire broke out, leaving extensive damage, as you can see, to this house. Many people are dropping off their ballots just like this at a drop box. I'm here on stage where all morning we've been talking about the Eugene Ballet Company's production. Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit of information about the fair if you're going to head out today or this weekend. Cars are flying down River Road from Maxwell Road all the way to Holman Avenue. Well, usually this combine would be out in the field collecting harvest. The Eugene Fire Department is now merging with Springfield Fire. Happy Earth Day, as you can see that the rain did decide to show up for the celebration. Well, many people are out fishing on the Willamette River, but the Eugene Springfield Water Rescue Team says before you go out on the water to make sure you're wearing the proper safety gear. Mail theft has been a growing concern for people in this neighborhood. Residents say that their mail is being taken out of their mailboxes and left empty.
I'm glad that he was arrested, finally.
But the evidence of a crime still lingering for the Ward family. Broken windows and lots of shattered glass. Michelle and her husband Rob came home last Wednesday to find their home burglarized. They quickly turned to their newly installed surveillance cameras for help.
We found the guy. He came at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Sure enough, the perpetrator caught on camera. You can see him trying to break in here. The video also shows him inside the home, eventually getting away with a welder, 2 bows and arrows, a family heirloom, among other things. Ward says it even shows him hitting her dog with some sort of pipe.
Those are my babies. Watching him hit my dog was probably the worst for us.
Ward says she turned this video over to the Lane County Sheriff's Office, but Michael Craig Hughes wasn't arrested until Tuesday night, nearly a week after the crime. She posted this video on social media and quickly learned where he lived, leaving her family on edge, wondering if he may try to come back.
I do think that it took way too long, considering the day after the crime, we already had all of his information and gave it to the police.
You may recall there's been a string of burglaries in the River Road area. However, LCSO says that this case appears to be an isolated incident and not related to those. The video in this crime, it says, helped the deputies make their arrest. And for the Wards, at least for now, they're glad they have some peace of mind. In Eugene, Angelica Lei Lani, KEZI 9 News.
It is loud. I agree, it is loud.
Dalma Stuck is talking about the train that crosses through her street daily. She says she's lived by the railroad for almost 9 years.
When it does go by, if I'm sitting in my chair, I get a little bit of a vibration, so you can feel it, as it goes by.
Things could quiet down if some residents have their way. For the past few months, a citizens advisory panel has been working with the city staff to implement a railroad quiet zone.
That's what this is really all about, is creating safety improvements that would then allow the train to be able to cross through the city, inside the city of Eugene, throughout this proposed area, without blowing their horns.
To make that happen, Richardson says safety improvements have to be made at 10 railroad crossings in the downtown and Whitaker neighborhoods. That includes crossing gates, medians, and fencing, none of which comes cheap.
The cost ranges anywhere from $6.8 to $7.3 million at this point, but we don't have any funding sources for that.
I think it's definitely a welcome change, because with the change of the noise level, they're also going to be adding different precautions.
Though some businesses in the downtown area look forward to the change, not everybody wants the whistles to fade away.
For the most part, I don't find it particularly problematic. It's actually, charming. I like it.
The Willamette Valley is known as the grass seed capital of the world, but with the recent rain during a time of harvest is putting a stop to all production.
This is what the grass would look like in June before it's pollinated. It's still green and the seeds haven't formed yet.
Nick Bowers is a 4th-generation grass seed farmer, and he says things were looking promising for a moment when they started the season about 10 days earlier than expected. But he says with more rain in the forecast, he could lose more than 20% of his crops.
Well, if we lose seed on the ground, of course, I won't be able to harvest it and won't be able to sell it. So financially, it can hurt us. Mentally, it's a little stressing when you know it's the time of the year that you should be in the field with the harvest and you can't.
Bowers says what most people don't realize is that the loss of grass seed doesn't just affect him or even Oregon for that matter. He says it affects the whole world, from cows to parks to the air we breathe.
A 5x5 square of grass produces enough oxygen for one person to breathe in a year. So grass affects everyone, and a lot more than they think.
Bowers says what takes months to prepare only leaves them with a short amount of time to harvest.
We will probably stay out of the fields for at least a week just because it's too wet to harvest. We need the seed to be at a certain moisture before we can store it.
She loves Dave.
David Meyer is just one of the many physical therapists at OSU Veterinarian School who spends his day working out with small animals like Ruby.
If you have surgery here at OSU and it's an orthopedic or neurologic surgery, you're going to see some rehab.
The program started back in 2008 and is designed to teach vet students about physical therapy and rehabilitation using research to improve outcomes for different therapeutic exercises like underwater treadmill therapy.
The warmth actually prevents pain, and it's equal to 1 dose of a nonsteroidal and NSAID for pain management in dogs and cats.
And Gabriella Hike is just one of the many clients who brings her dog in for her ailing arthritis.
And I'm really appreciative, to have such high quality care from my family member. I can hardly even call her a dog because she's really a part of the family.
Associate Professor Dr. Wendy Baltzer says although water therapy is not uncommon for animals, smaller animals are finally able to benefit from it.
We can reduce the amount of drugs that they have to take, as well as improve their muscle mass, help them become more mobile and happier and healthier at home for a lot longer in their life.
And for Hike and her furry family member, it would seem a treatment only reserved for adults is helping her tread her way back to her healthy self.
She's walking more, she's more relaxed, she doesn't seem to be in pain.
Oh, the walks are really fun.
Kaylina Glover is talking about the walks that take little legs on an adventure to Imagination Land. The director of the Newberry Child Care Center says every week these heroes of our community stop by to read to her kids as part of the Officer Buddy program.
The children are always ecstatic about it. They're very excited every Wednesday when the EPD shows up. So we just love it.
She says the program strives for kids learning to read and gives them the opportunity to connect with the community at a young age, and says it's great to see the police department get involved.
I knew immediately that's something I wanted to be a part of. I love working with kids, and it's just such a joy to be able to do something like this.
Officer Rafji says his sergeant came up with the idea as a way to shine positivity on the downtown area. He says he hopes this reinforces the idea that they are all part of the same community and wants to encourage kids to get excited about reading.
I think that that's great. It's just one more positive adult in their life, modeling reading and the importance of reading.
Bennett says she thinks it's an exciting demonstration for the downtown community.
This is the best part of my week. I get to hang out with them, I get to play, I get to kind of siphon off some of that positive energy that they have. The kids are so excited when we show up. It's fun to just be a part of their day and to have some positive interaction with the kids.
Interaction that leaves a lasting impression. The smell of smoke is still lingering in the air after a fire broke out, leaving extensive damage, as you can see, to this house on the 200 block of East 2nd Street. And it all happened just after 1 this morning. Fire crews say multiple neighbors called 911, and one neighbor I spoke with, who actually lives next door, says he could feel the heat and left his house immediately. Firefighters say no one was home at the time and say it's actually unclear whether or not this was an occupied house. But neighbors I spoke with say the house was actually under reconstruction. When fire crews arrived, they say the flames were about 15 to 20 feet high. Crews say they were able to put out the flames within about 20 minutes after the first fire engine arriving. But a few residents in the area say they were worried.
Yeah, I was a little concerned. I wanted to leave, but I think they got it under control pretty well. So we just wanted to check it out and see what was going on.
Well, while it's quiet now as police presence has cleared out, it's still a very active investigation. This is the neighborhood where police say shots were fired near 10th and Greenwood around 7 last night. The Lane County Sheriff's Office says 2 Junction City police officers were patrolling the neighborhood when they felt and heard an explosion. The officers called for backup because they thought someone was shooting at them. LCSO says evidence nearby indicates that what they felt was a device resembling a pipe bomb. Dozens of officers responded to the scene, and officers say they did not find bullet holes in the patrol car, but they found other damage.
When something like that goes off, once it's over and you're grateful to be alive, you know, you really don't know how close it is. Once we get into it, we'll know where it was set off, we'll know how close they were, and then we will charge that crime appropriately.
Captain Slater says they are looking into people of interest and adds that they do not know if the act was intentional or if the police were a target. Police say the incident does not pose a threat, and those 2 Junction City officers are okay this morning. And they are asking if anyone has information to contact the police. Live in Junction City, Angelica Lei Lani, KZI 9 News. If passed, that would then bring the tax up to 20%, still lower than the 25%. The tax would apply to recreational marijuana retailers in Lane County outside city limits. Lane County officials say cities must place their own local tax on the ballot in order to participate. The proposed board order could be approved during today's meeting or may need a 3rd reading before a decision is made. Officials say the deadline to place the tax on the November ballot is August, so a decision must be reached soon. Consumers that we spoke with say they actually don't mind the tax.
If they have to do it, I'd rather see it not happen just because I'd have to pay more money. But if it were to happen, they tax alcohol, so we might as well tax marijuana as well.
The Board of Commissioners is evaluating a couple of different options on how to structure the purpose of the tax. They say it could be used towards unrestricted revenue, which means that the 3% tax would be placed into the general fund and used to support general county programs and services, or put towards restricted revenue and used for a restricted number of purposes. And Lane County officials say it would be up to each business owner to decide whether to take on the additional cost or pass it on to customers. They say that local governments can only place it on the ballot in the general election year according to state law. So if it's not placed on this November's ballot, they'll have to wait 2 years. Again, the meeting is today at Harris Hall at 1:30, and it's open to the public. Live in the studio, Angelica Lei Lani, KZI 9 News. According to the Department of Forestry, calls came in about a fire during an active logging operation in the hills just behind the Knee Deep Cattle Company. The Oregon Department of Forestry, Lane Fire Authority, and the owners of the Knee Deep Cattle Company all helped to contain the fire. It burned through 13 acres of forest land, but firefighters say they were able to create dozer trails cutting off the flames from the rest of the wooded area. The trails helped crews get close enough to bring down the hoses on about 60% of the land. 2 helicopters were involved in the operation, dousing the fire from above. Crews say they had a difficult time containing the fire due to high temperatures and erratic winds.
Everyone needs to be real aware that as the temperatures are going to be rising this week and humidity is lowering, there's just that added possibility for fires to start a little bit easier and for fires that do start to get a little bit bigger.
Fire officials say fire danger should be transitioning from moderate levels to high levels in the next day or 2. The new portable kitchen for the Eugene Mission sits right across the street, and the Mission employees say they are looking forward to cooking again and doing what they do best. Eugene Mission says the portable kitchen arrived yesterday morning. It's equipped with a freezer, refrigerator, stoves, and ovens. And even though it's a little bit smaller than the original kitchen, they say they will still be able to cook about 800 meals a day. The Mission chefs say they are looking forward to cooking in it and providing meals for those in need.
I love a good challenge, and I think as long as our leadership just keeps that powerful smile, attitude, go get them, it's just going to translate down to everyone we need to just fall in and help.
The blessing is that the 2 folks running our food service are just culinary experts that have worked in every environment known to man, so this will be nothing for them to adjust to this.
Mission employees say even without a kitchen, they were able to feed all of their guests thanks to the community's help with donations and many local restaurants catering to keep them going. And Eugene Mission says right now it's still working on the electrical and water needs of the portable kitchen, but say that the chefs will be able to still cook in it for today. Green Hill Humane Society's 23rd annual Bark in the Park is happening this weekend, and it says this is an event you don't want to miss. Participants will have the chance to walk or run with their furry little friends at Alton Baker Park in Eugene. This event helps the local shelter raise money to care for more than 3,000 homeless animals in Lane County that otherwise would have nowhere to go. Organizers say Bark in the Park is an important event to the community.
We have families coming from all over who can participate. We welcome children and dogs and adults. Everybody can come out and have fun. Your cats may or may not like it, but everybody else is welcome to come out and have a great time.
Bark in the Park is the animal shelter's biggest fundraiser of the year. Last year, it raised more than $80,000, but organizers say this year they hope to top that, and so far they're already reaching their goals. Bark in the Park takes place this Sunday, May 15th, and you still have time to register online, or you can do so the day of the event at 7 a.m., and we'll have that information on our website. Live in the studio, Angelica Lei Lani, KEZI 9 News.